All right, so hey guys, Matt with Legacy Ranch. Today we've got Bobby here. We're going to talk a little bit about archery, something that we do have here at the ranch, but we haven't really showcased it so much. Bobby here has some background and interest in the archery world. We'll get into his background a little bit in a minute, but this is something that we have a static range. We have a walking course. That's the correct term for it, walking course.
Yeah, 3D course.
3D walking course type thing, and all that fun stuff. So Bobby here, can you tell us a little bit about your archery background? Are you a competitive shooter? Are you a hunter? Do you just do this for fun? What's your interest in archery?
Yeah, so growing up, I did a lot of traditional archery shooting for fun, like a lot of kids do. And then about 13, 14 years ago, I got my first compound bow, got interested into big game hunting. So I started initially with whitetail hunting in kind of eastern whitetail. Southeast Oklahoma is where I mainly go for that. And then very shortly after that, I moved to New Mexico, got into the western big game hunting scene as well.
Oh, cool.
So I've just been kind of developing my abilities in that environment over the past several years, and then just recently kind of started getting into a little bit of non-competitive 3D shooting, and then came out and helped you guys set up the 3D course for the 4th of July event.
Yeah, that was super cool. It was a lot of fun, and we really appreciate you setting up the course. So real quick before we get into the course layout, what's you said traditional shooting?
Yeah,
what is that exactly?
So trad gear or traditional archery is going to be no mechanical advantages really. So you don't have your pulleys or anything like that for a compound bow or a crossbow. You just have either a recurve or a longbow, which is more traditional in the sense that it's technology that's been around for thousands of years,
right,
versus the compound bow, which is favored a lot of times in hunting nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Part of that's because you're able to get more power in a smaller package. So when you're walking around through the bush, you're not making as much noise. Is that kind of the idea, or?
That's part of it. The
Okay.
main concept behind it is you get more power, you get more velocity and energy transferred to the arrow through a lower draw weight and or lower holding weight. So the big advantage of a compound bow, if it's a 70-pound draw bow, meaning the amount of force that is getting pushed to the arrow, about halfway through that draw you have a mechanical advantage of cams, which then taken where at full draw you're only holding 20-ish% of that weight. So if it's a 70-pound bow, you might only be holding 15 pounds back here, so you can actually hold your draw a lot longer, versus if it's a 70-pound traditional bow, you're holding 70 pounds
right,
back at your cheek the entire time,
right?
So you don't get the opportunity to draw back and hold and wait for a shot with the trad gear. And then also that mechanical advantage just allows more velocity and more energy transfer to the arrow when you shoot it.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, again, we appreciate you setting up the course and everything like that. All right, so in terms of capabilities here at Legacy, we have kind of a static range, and we mentioned earlier a walking, like a 3D kind of 3D target walking course. What's the benefit of having this like a static range like this?
Cool. So the static range here, as you can kind of see around us, we've got a couple of 3D targets. We've got some big box targets as well. This is where you can come, sight in your bow, check your zero, make adjustments, that sort of thing, or just bring the family out and have some fun shooting. Obviously all the way up to point blank here, and I believe it goes out to about 60 yards for shooting. And then obviously future adjustments can be made for that if people want to shoot 70, 80, 90 yards. The space is here to make that happen. So again, come out, sight in, make any adjustments you need to the bow, bring the family out, just have some fun on some 3D targets and some paper targets on the boxes here. And that's the purpose of the static range.
When it comes to these targets, are there any restrictions in terms of shooting what you can and can't to shoot with these?
Yeah, so this is all going to be field point. The entire range, this and the walking course, is all going to be field point. If you want to shoot broadheads, bring your own broadhead target. That's just to make sure these targets stay nice for everybody who comes out here. Compound bows, crossbows, traditional gear, as far as what type of bow you want to bring out. These targets should be able to handle all of that. So the only real restriction is just going to be no broadheads.
No broadheads. Okay, cool. That makes sense. Any suggestions when you're out here on the known distance range or KD range when it comes to maybe sighting in or some kind of data collection? What's maybe a new shooter, someone that just got their bow, they're excited to come out? What's just a quick tip for them when coming out here on this static range?
Start closer than you want to. That's one of the big things in archery is people want to start pushing that distance out. They see videos of these competitive shooters and people have been shooting for a long time. 20 yards is where you want to really be at if you're trying to build your skill until you get a really good group there, get your form down, and then start backing up. The nice thing out here is if your eventual goal is to go hunting, you're in the outdoor environment, so you can see what the sun does to your sights, you can see what the wind does to your arrow. Right now we've got a good probably 10-mile-an-hour crosswind for the target set, so that's something you can kind of see and adjust to for hunting scenarios that you don't get in that indoor range. But as far as developing your skills, start close and then start moving back as you can meet your goals for group size.
Okay, that makes sense. Is there a couple more questions? Is there an ideal group size that you're kind of looking for? I know in the shooting world we have kind of our basis is minute of angle shooting, especially at distance, but not so much pistols but rifles. Is there a similar standards for archery?
It all really depends on what you want to do with the sport of archery. If your goal is to hunt, obviously you want all your arrows grouping inside the size of the vitals of the animal that you're hunting. But an additional factor to take in is environmentals, adrenaline, all these other things that happen in a hunting scenario.
Yeah.
So what I talk to people about is you want a desired group size that is smaller than the vitals of an animal, and then take that and cut it in half for accounting for those factors, such as, maybe the animal's a little bit farther than you thought, maybe you're a little bit shaky with adrenaline, maybe you got a little bit of a crosswind, those sorts of things. So for me personally, in a hunting scenario, I'm looking for a 3 to 4 inch group is my target, which can be pretty difficult to achieve, especially at longer distances.
Yeah.
But that's my personal goal. There's not really a set standard for anything.
Got it. Okay.
When you come into 3D archery shooting or competition shooting, you come up and look at your target here a little bit. Your scoring is based on which ring you can land it in, okay? So if you can get it on the foam, you're looking at 5 points, and this is a generality. There's a couple of different scoring scales. If you can get within the general vital area, that's going to be 8. Within the center of the vitals, that's going to be 10. And then your small rings in here are going to be 12 or 14 points, depending on the scoring type that you're using. So if your goal is to get competitive with 3D, as you can see, I mean, your 12 ring there is going to be about a 1 inch circle. Wow. With your 10 ring being about a 3.5, 4 inch circle. So you're going to probably shrink that group size down a little bit for competitive shooting.
Okay. That's very cool. Good to know. I've wanted to get into competitive archery myself, but time and money. Yeah. Like anything else.
Yeah.
Last question that I have at the moment is, so I see you have a pretty sweet little chest pack thing. Do you suggest shooting with that when you want to mimic some realism typically in training? Is that kind of what you're doing here, or is that just more for like your personal items that you're wanting to just have with you?
Yeah, I mean, just like with shooting rifles or anything like that, you want to practice for what you're going to do with that skill set, right? So if my main goal around archery is hunting, I want to be outfitted like I am when I'm hunting. I want the same equipment in the same places. It may affect my form a little bit. It may affect how I can stand or squat when I'm taking a shot. And it's also going to be affecting like my rangefinder. I want my rangefinder right where it's going to be when I'm hunting. I want my binos available right where they're going to be when I'm hunting, so I can go through those processes, those pre-shot processes of finding, glassing if appropriate, ranging, putting everything back where it goes, and then drawing and taking the shot. If everything is here, just like it is when I'm hunting, I'm not going to be fumbling around trying to find the pocket with a rangefinder,
Right.
or trying to figure out where to put my binos. Conversely, if I'm again doing this for 3D archery, a lot of folks will have a little bit different of an arrangement, and even within the hunting world, people are going to have different preferences on gear. But I do highly recommend that when you come out and shoot these things, you shoot as if you were doing it for that competition or for that hunt. So today when we go, I'm going to put my backpack on as we go through the 3D course today, because I'm going to be hunting with a backpack on.
Mm-hmm. Right. That makes sense. Very cool. Any other remarks before we get walking around?
No, so you got the flat range here, which we just talked about, and we can go look at the 3D course and maybe shoot a few arrows. The goal of the 3D course is to mimic realistic hunting situations, throw some technicality into shots, maybe with some obstacles or some long distances or very short distances, and then also just keep it fun, right?
Yeah.
It's going to apply to hunting, it's going to apply to your 3D competitions, and it's just going to be fun for the whole family. So shooters of all skill levels can come out here and use this course and have a good time.
Actually, one last question. Do you need to have someone, especially someone who's new to this sport, do you need to spend like tens of thousands of dollars, getting into the nicest bow and super expensive arrows and all that other kind of stuff, and gear and backpacks and all that stuff?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I have a used $150 recurve bow with I think $50 worth of arrows, and that's something I take out in the yard and just shoot to have fun all the time. And that's a great place to start for somebody who's never shot archery before. For kids, that kind of stuff is that traditional gear. It's lower cost, it's lower technicality, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Right. And then as your interest goes up, you can kind of move up that scale in gear and equipment until you find your personal level of budget. Return on investment. I like to say the point of diminishing returns.
Sure, yeah. Okay, very cool. Well, get it, go walk around.
Cool.
All right, so we're at station 1 of this walking course. Again, Bobby here set this whole thing up. Can you walk us through why you set this up this particular way? Kind of walk us through your thought process.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you come out and follow the course, you'll see little orange flags hanging from trees and stuff. That kind of marks the footpath between the targets and around the course. Each target's going to be marked with a placard here. The placard is going to be numbered to tell you which shooting position you're at, and then in the office they've also got a map of this, so you can have that to kind of find your way through. So here at target 1, we've got a white-tailed deer kind of in the brush in the shadows here. Mimics a hunting situation where you've got a deer maybe moving through thicker cover, and so you got to shoot potentially from a sunny position into a shaded position, and then some cholla cacti and some branches and stuff around here to simulate kind of like a real world. You've got some obstacles that maybe you need to shift your position a little bit to shoot around. As far as the competition piece, I'm not going to get into it now, but there's different classes for competitive 3D shooting, and based on that, depending on how the competition's set up, you may have different shooting distances as well. So if you look here, you can see a blue flag, a white flag, and then back over here is a red flag. Those will kind of mark out general guidelines for different skill levels. The way we had it set up for 4th of July is red's going to be your more advanced skill level. It's going to have a little more technicality. It's going to have more distance to the shot. White's going to be your kind of intermediate skill level, and then blue is going to be your kind of novice skill level or potentially traditional archery equipment, which is going to be a lot more limited on range. So as we go through the course today, like I said, we'll kind of follow those orange flags around the course to each target. When we find this placard, we'll start looking around for the different flags, and then based on our skill level, we'll choose which flag we're going to shoot from to challenge ourselves a little bit.
So this is kind of similar to golf, right? You've got the different tees that represent the different, whether it's age or skill bracket that you're in. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so, exactly. And the way the course is set up, you don't have to adhere to the flags. You can do whatever you're more comfortable with. If you find a position that's a little more challenging, you want to challenge yourself, go for it. And if you want to find a position that's maybe a little more clear, you're working on different fundamentals, or you're not really worried about shooting around over obstacles, that kind of stuff, you're more than welcome to. The flags are just kind of set out as a general guide to help people find a shooting position for their skill level.
And it could be standardized to you. Sure, you might not be super comfortable, but if you at least choose one position that's repeatable, come out tomorrow, come out the next day, come out a week later.
Yeah, it's a great way to judge your own progression and skill. And then also if you come out with friends, or the kids come out here with you, it's a great way to set up a little friendly competition as well, where you're kind of, everybody takes the same shot, and that way you can kind of have a gauge for fun competition.
Cool, I like it. So I'll take a shot.
Sure.
Get out of your way here. Oh, we're doing it, huh?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But these are also good quality foam targets.
Yeah.
These aren't your cheap knockoff Walmart that aren't going to stop an arrow, or they're going to get torn up really, really fast. So I appreciate that you guys actually spent the money on good quality targets out here. It'll be really good for folks to come out and shoot.
Yeah, we have a couple philosophy. Well, one philosophy that holds highest is basically we want people to come and train. Yeah. And regardless of what that is, archery, sporting clays, rifle, pistol, combination of anything, we want to give the end user the best quality, the best experience, and that means high quality targets in this case. So
cool.
It's important for us that you train effectively.
So if you come out and you're shooting the course, if you kind of look ahead, you see the orange flagging on the trees. That's going to be what marks your pathway between the target sets. All the targets are set up with good deconfliction, where you should be able to transition between targets while people are shooting, not have to worry about being downrange at all. But to help with that, staying on this marked footpath will ensure that we've got good fires deconfliction all the way around. We can probably skip past 2 and go to 3. Or 4 actually, probably better. I don't know if it's going to be able to. Just a little bit right there. Cool, so this is shooting station 4. This is actually one of my favorite targets on the course. I call it the sneaky cat. So if you look kind of way back here in the brush, you can see a little bobcat 3D target. There's a lot of branches and obstructions, a very, very tight shooting lane, and just kind of a visually cluttered environment. So one thing this does for the competition shooter, or just the 3D shooter, is it makes you really focus on that accuracy and kind of thread that arrow through there. And then for the hunter, this gets you a little more prepared for those thick brush situations where you might have an animal moving through a very, very small shooting window, and gets you comfortable with and understanding all the factors you got to worry about when you're taking that shot.
Cool. Kind of going through this brush here just made me think about something. Can you get lost on this course? Is it possible for you to?
So when you come check in for the day, the front desk is going to have a map with each shooting point marked on it, and then it'll also have the general walking path marked on that map as well. So that'll help you out a lot. And then coming through, if you see these orange flags kind of hanging off the tree branches here, following the orange flags will keep you on the walking path for the course. And then anytime you see a placard, like in this case, the number 4 placard, stop there, look around, and you'll start seeing your red and white flags and then your blue flag a little bit closer to the target.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Well, show us how it's done.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Like I said, this one's fun because you gotta miss a few little bitty branches by a couple of inches to thread it in there and hit that sweet spot.
Thread the needle.
So a little bit closer on this one, 24 yards. But like I said, just that really narrow shooting lane and a small target. Bring all that technicality into it a little bit.
Did you get it?
Hit it.
Nice.
Not quite where I wanted to, but we'll see how close it was.
Oh, dang, that is... Yeah, you're right, sneaky cat for sure. Are you hitting its head?
No, so...
that's behind that tree over there, that little...
Yeah, so you see the larger big dot on the shoulder. It's a relatively good spot to aim, kind of for the vital area. But it's also real tight against the brush. You got to find that just narrow window to thread it through.
Man,
I think you might be able to hear it on my shot. I'm pretty sure I skimmed one of those little branches a little bit.
yeah. Good 25?
Yep.
Ooh, right over his head. Right over his head.
Let's go see if we can find it.
All right. That's not part of the plan, was to miss.
But it's good to come out here and take these shots and miss, so you can gauge your own limitations, right?
Yeah.
And or find the things that you need to focus on and get better at before you're out there in the field and taking those shots on an animal.
I think that's gonna be my intro, is like, yeah, don't miss.
The other weekend.
Nah.
So just real quick, something to talk about misses here. A little bit of a safety consideration. If you miss, hopefully you find your arrow. But even if you do, you either want to set it to the side and not shoot that arrow anymore, or you want to do a bend test on it. So if you take your arrow here, give it some good flexes. What you're looking and listening for is any cracking or grating noises that might indicate that some of the fibers on the arrow are broken. If you get any of those indications that the arrow is bent, do not shoot that arrow again. The amount of energy in these bows, these compound bows in particular, can cause that arrow to splinter and break apart on the shot, which can be physically dangerous for you and potentially damage your bow as well. So any missed shots, try and find your arrow. Hopefully you find it. But if you do, like I said, I recommend you don't shoot it. If you do, at a minimum, come back through, do that kind of flex test, make sure this thing's structurally good to go.
Good point. All
right, so this is target station 5. So this is target station 5. As you guys can see, we got a pretty good variety of species as far as your 3D targets go here. We've got deer, feral hogs, bobcats, antelope, a couple of exotics further on in the range. We have coyotes, turkeys, all kinds of stuff. So makes for a lot of fun for the family and fun shooting, but then for the hunter, it also gives you kind of a variety of animals and sizes that you're going to be shooting at as you go through the course. Target 5 here is set up for a little bit longer distance course, and because of that we put the antelope out there, the animal that you're likely to take your longer shots at if you're bow hunting them. But this gives you the ability to kind of stretch your legs a little bit on your shot distance and kind of see where you're at, and maybe test out your max effective range for hunting or for competition potentially.
Yeah, so antelope, the easiest rifle hunt, the hardest bow hunt, right?
Absolutely.
So prairie carp, speed goat, they've got all kinds of fun names.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll be taking my wife out in October this year for, well, it's the first antelope tag either of us have had.
Oh, okay.
But thankfully she's got the rifle tag, so
yeah, that's good.
Our odds of filling the freezer have gone up quite a bit versus going out with the old stick and string.
Yeah. Your backup stick and string is a 30-06?
Yeah. 6.5 Creedmoor, because that's what she shoots the best.
Oh,
and
there you
the
go.
backup is a 7mm rim mag.
Nice. Both really great options.
Yeah. All right, and then we can shoot this one if you want to, or we can kind of.
Oh, that's up to you. Whatever you.
I might as well.
Because I don't know this course. Like.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is going to be one of the longer range. I think technically this is the longest range if you shoot from the stakes, but target 3 is pretty close to it distance wise. Somebody lost the cap off their binoculars.
Uh-oh. Binoculars.
Yeah. All right, so talking about, we alluded to earlier, kind of working on that shot process. One of the reasons why I wear all my gear, just like I do when I'm hunting. So that's something else you can work on out here that's going to transfer directly to your hunting experience, is your shot process. So initially it may start with the binos up, finding that animal in the brush or getting a better look at it, judging whether or not it's a legal animal or something you want to shoot at. Following that, you're going to kind of predict where it is, or if it's sitting in one spot, you're going to range it with the range finder. Once you have a known range on it, you then knock your arrow, adjust your pins on your sight if you have an adjustable sight, or just kind of mentally go through the process of which pin you're going to use and where you're going to place that. Then you'll go through your draw process, aim, release, and follow through. So I'll just kind of demonstrate that a little bit for my personal process, which isn't exactly what anybody needs to use, but just as a demo of what that might look like.
Would you say it's similar to shooting, right? You've got about 10% of this is 100% non-negotiable, this is the correct way. You got 10% of 100% non-negotiable, this is the wrong way. And then about 80% in between, like, well, you know, I do it kind of this way, it works for me. You do it that way, it works for you. Is that kind of similar with archery?
Yeah, absolutely. So you, like, your non-negotiables you need, in most cases, are going to be a known range.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously making sure that, just like in your gun safety rules, you positively ID'd your target, you know what you're shooting at, and you know that the area in and beyond it is clear, so you're not going to potentially hit an animal unintended or anything else that you don't intend to shoot, right? So that's going to be your real big 10% non-negotiable, is following that and then getting your distance. After that, it's all going to be personal technique. So I'll caveat that technique only, as we say at work.
Technique only.
But generally your goal is to just have a repeatable process, so that when your heart's sitting there hammering because you've got, you know, a bull elk or a mule deer or something within range, you can kind of reset to a known process automatically rather than having to specifically think of all these things. So again, kind of like we talked about with form and anchor point and grip, consistency is key.
Mm-hmm.
Find something that works for you, that accomplishes the required items, and then do it the exact same way every single time, so that when your adrenaline's going, or you're tired, or you're rushed with time, like, your body will just automatically go through that process the same way and tick all the boxes.
The other part of that as well, which is very real, especially in the hunting world, is you're on day 5 or 7 of maybe 5 hours of sleep a night.
Absolutely.
And it's not great sleep, and you're probably pushing Monster Energy drinks or whatever all week long. You probably haven't had great nutrition along the way, so those things are a factor.
Yeah, absolutely. And they also factor into, like we talked about earlier, your accuracy, right?
Yeah.
So if I can, at 35 or 40 yards is my limiting distance for putting an arrow into the vitals every time on a target. Under those circumstances, I'm probably not going to take that 40-yard shot. I'm going to move myself. I'm going to cut that down to 25 or 30 to account for those factors.
Yep.
But again, out here, you can do some hiking, get your heart rate up. You can do some push-ups real quick before you shoot, jumping jacks, that kind of stuff to imitate those situations. So you got a little bit better idea of what that situation is going to look like and what your capabilities are when you are looking at a pronghorn antelope sitting in the shade at about, visually I'm going to guess this to be 50 yards. Check it with the rangefinder. We're at 54. Okay.
And especially at that distance with archery, the difference between that 4 yards when it, as you're aiming, your point of aim is a lot different than, say, the 15 to 20 yard difference.
If people are familiar with rifle shooting and bullet drop and that kind of stuff, arrows behave the exact same way. So the further out there they get, the slower they're going, and the slower they're going, the faster they drop. So your longer distances are going to be a lot more finely tuned for your sighting than your shorter distances. Being off by 5 yards from 15 to 20 might mean you're 2 inches high or low. Being off by 5 yards at 55 or 60, the case of this target for me and my personal bow and the way it shoots, that might be 6 or 7 inches, which could be a vital versus non-vital hit.
Or a miss.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So kind of going back through that process again, I'm going to visually ID my target, make sure I know what I'm shooting at, make sure everything around it and behind it is clear of things I don't want to shoot. Decided this is a pronghorn I want to shoot at. I'm going to get a good range on him. If he's moving or he's not in range right now, I can arrange things around him to kind of have an idea of where he's going to be at. So I got a good range there. I'm going to go ahead and, in my case, dial an adjustable pin.
That's crazy. Super cool.
And then knock my arrow. Get good body position, and then finish out this shot process with the draw, anchor, release, and follow through.
Nice. Very nice.
You want to fling one or you want to move up? It's up to you.
I'll fling one.
Oh, that's still a high shot for me.
Is it? So one thing, and we'll get in I think it'll be an interesting video later that we'll do, is one of the things I noticed actually right when you drew, right when you drew, I heard water in your pack kind of sloshing around.
Yep.
So a couple things there. Again, this will be a longer later video, but just a point of note, if you are out here shooting here or hunting, one is that little bit of noise might actually spook the animal.
It could.
And depending on the size of a full military here, liquid retention device.
Yeah.
If it's a larger water bottle and it's, say, half full, that might throw your stance off just a little.
Yeah, it could.
A little bit.
It could. See, I mean, you notice with a compound bow, since I can hold it back, I'm going to draw, I'm going to find my anchor, and then I'm just going to sit there for a few seconds, make sure everything feels good, that little bit of sloshing water settles out, and make sure I've got a good sight picture and a good hold before releasing that arrow.
No, I think that'd be fun to get into like a hunting kind of a mindset and considerations video.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you guys want to see more of Bobby, let me know. Said 54.
54 yards.
So he did all that ranging and stuff. I'm just here to see what I can do. Nope.
Oh, you hit. You might have actually hit better than I did.
Let's go find out. I'm gonna take this. Be a little out of range here.
Show all our bad shots today.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get that one. We're gonna have to get that one like real nice.
Yeah.
This is actually good too because it's got my brain focused on kind of doing something else, but still need to make a shot.
Yeah. Then and it does help when you're kind of talking through stuff. So sometimes, you know, like, oh, I've done this 80 million times.
Yep.
When it forces you to kind of stop and think about it. All right, so here were our shots at 54.
Yep.
This guy was in the shade. It's crazy. So I'm liking this course already. We were shooting in the sun on a target that's not in the sun, that's in the shade, and my pins were illuminated. I wouldn't say too much, but definitely very focused. And you have a 3-pin setup,
correct?
And one of those is adjustable.
Yep.
I've got, I think, 6 pins. So for me, there's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of distractions right in my face.
Yep.
But especially shooting something that's in the shade. But this is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like we were talking about earlier, just kind of finding your distance. So I'm being a little bit lazy today, I'm not going to lie. I'd like to think that I shoot better than this a lot of times, but
yeah,
that could just be my ego talking. But something I could take from this, 55 yards, and I'm hitting kind of very top edge of the vitals on a real animal. This would probably be the spine region, or maybe even potentially above the spine. So my lesson for this from hunting is I need to get better. I need to get a lot better at shooting 55, 60 yards before I'm willing to take that shot on an animal in the field.
And again, you know, you're probably, I would imagine for the most part, well rested, well fed. You haven't been hiking 15 miles a day. Your feet probably don't hurt.
Exactly.
So, you know, day 4 through 7 look a lot different than, you know, hour 1
Absolutely.
of the hunt.
Absolutely.
Oh. Got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, the sunglasses falling off. That's another thing a lot of people don't think about. I personally don't shoot a bow with sunglasses on because I find it makes a lot of distortion, especially trying to look through a peep sight. You might be a little bit different, your head position or your glasses might be different, but if you're having a hard time aiming and you're wearing sunglasses, try taking them off and seeing how your vision and your target acquisition comes after that.
Yeah, you know, something to be said about wearing sunglasses out in the field like this is when you're in and out of brush, obviously it's gonna depend on the situation that you're in. You know, are you in open plains of Nebraska, or are you kind of in and out? So you can see here right now we're in some open space, but it doesn't take much to get back into some vegetation there. So me personally, it's just because I'm a dad. I've got these sweet dad glasses lanyard.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's easier for me. It's quick. I don't have to like necessarily stow them. However, if I was in like an actual hunting situation, I probably would not be wearing sunglasses. I would probably have them, especially early morning and later evening when that sun is directly in my eyes.
Yep.
But once it gets past a certain time and that sun is up, I just rely on my hat.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. No, and again, I know we're talking a lot about the applicability of this to hunting because that's kind of where I come from in the archery world. But it really shows you all the different factors that you're going to be facing in the field versus sitting in your backyard at 20 or 30 yards on a big block foam target that if you miss, it's no big deal, and you got your cement wall behind it to stop it, right?
Right.
So even these short range shots, and we'll show you guys what the extreme of that later, can be just as challenging as shooting out there 50, 60, 70 yards.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, kind of going back to speaking of the capabilities of this place, just like you're saying, is out here, you're getting all weather environments. You're outside. So train, say in the defensive world, train like you fight. In this case, train like you hunt. You're shooting from in this case, sunny day into shade. You got your backpack and full kit on. You've got small targets that are close up. You've got big targets that are far away, or vice versa, or in that brush. So, just speaking of the capabilities of this range, I think that, and this is really on you. So thank you for this when you're setting it up. But thinking about all those little things that the hunter and competition shooter are going to encounter when they're going and doing their respective activities.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was my goal, is to wrap all those things up and also just make it fun for somebody who wants to come out here and shoot to get ready for their hunt, and just bring their kid along with them so their kid can have fun, or for the family that wants to come out and roll through and just shoot some arrows, and that's their full interest, is make it fun for them, and as well as the people who are coming out here for hunting and competition practice.
Yeah, and just also, and I think you did a great job. But just for full transparency as well, what's super dangerous about this is how much fun this is.
Yeah.
Because then you're, like you said earlier, you don't need the $80,000 setup and kit and rig and the whatever else. You just need to come out and do it, try it out.
Yeah.
Because you might find you don't like it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But you probably will, and you're gonna enjoy it, and then you're gonna be looking online late at night, like, oh, well, I can add this little feature, this piece of kit, or I want a new bow, or I'm saving up for whatever, and then you end up looking like this guy, all ready to ready to rock and roll at any given moment. So
yeah, that's a great thing about the sport of archery, though, is it's just like shooting. There's a variety of budget options out there, right? I talk about I'm a point of diminishing returns man. So I could go out and have $10,000 sitting in my left hand right here for the top of the line of everything, but I don't. I bought a bow for about $600, which is the most I've ever spent. A sight for about $100. A couple of accessories. All the accessories put together is probably another $300. So I'm at about $1,000 in this setup. And then I invested a little bit more heavily in my arrows. I have a concept of the thing going through the air and hitting the target needs to be very high quality. But that's, for me, kind of that point of diminishing returns value investment is kind of in that area to give you a ballpark figure. Like I said, you can go all the way up to $10,000 sitting in your left hand as you're looking at the target, or you can go all the way down to just a couple $100 at most for some arrows and a recurve and out there having fun.
Yeah. I mean, that's there's definitely a difference between cheap and value items.
Yeah.
There's things that you can get for cheaper. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're cheap, but I'm sure we can do a video on gear, full gear layout and all that kind of stuff later. But
and to be completely honest, cheaper bow, cheaper arrows, cheaper setup altogether. I've killed more animals with that than I have with this one. So
ugly kills.
So this is the opposite, right? So earlier we had a couple targets if you're in the full sun shooting into the shade, and then here we've got you're in the shade shooting into the full sun, but we still throw some obstacles for some tree branches and that kind of stuff in. And if you look real close, got a little bunny rabbit there. Please don't shoot the wildlife.
Yeah.
On the range, we got plenty of wildlife type targets for you to shoot at.
He's just chilling.
Yep.
And that includes everything, as small as a bunny rabbit to big as a cow.
Yeah.
If I find an arrow in one of my cows, swear to God.
Yeah. Cool. One thing I'll say for the person coming out to hunt, do a lot of study on anatomy of animals and shot placement. That is one downside of the 3D target world, is where the rings are and where the vitals are marked are not always accurate. Here, the target sets we have here, I think for the most part are pretty good. But if you're doing this for hunting purposes, make sure you're studying up on that animal and where the best shot placement is. And don't worry about where you hit in the rings on the target. Vice versa, if you're interested in 3D shooting or competition shooting, you're going to study up a little more on the 3D scoring system and really be picking your spot based on where those rings are.
Or if you're me, you can just hope to hit the target in general.
Yeah. There's a saying in the 3D world that foam is home.
Foam is home. That's
Foam
right.
is home.
I like it.
Cool. So as you can see here, we've got a exotic. We got a little Impala target out here. A little bit of distance, kind of down in a little bit of a wash for you there to create a little bit of technicality.
I like it.
Go ahead and shoot an arrow with this one.
Sure, go ahead. Let me set this guy up.
So I'll see if I can redeem myself a little bit on this one. 50-yard shot, a little bit of downhill between the bushes, and vitals are just basically on the grass line for my line of sight.
Nice. There you go. He's back, baby. He's back. This arrow looks a little chewed up.
That looked pretty good.
A little high.
Foam is home.
Foam is home. I'll take it. So good shooting for Bobby here. So for me, in this instance, I definitely took that more deliberate shot, that took the time to make sure that my fundamentals were good, natural point of aim, all that kind of stuff. My bubble level was good. I'm also not as familiar as I need to be with the pin placement.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised, which is not a good thing. It's my tool, right? But I was a little surprised when I let that arrow go. I was like, that the moment it left, I was like, oh no, it's going over. But so the fundamentals were fine. Just the point of aim was not.
Yeah, that's all right. And like I said, it seems like you've been a little bit to the right and a little bit high on most of your shots today. So that could also be just something to do with the sighting of the bow. Mm-hmm. So if you're noticing that, we jump right back over to the static range, adjust the pins a little bit, and get back on target.
Yeah, that's why we're here. That's what we're doing.
Yep. All right, got your gobblers out here. You got a full strut head on and kind of a broadside slight quarter away for an alert bird. So that's one a lot of people don't really think about is bow hunting turkeys. And I'm not gonna lie, I never really thought about it a whole lot till I shot a 3D target. But yeah, this is another really fun target set. We've got a few double sets up here. So if you're keeping score, you just record your score for each target. If you're doing that little friendly competition, and if not, just kind of gives you a couple of different looks at one single shooting position.
Yeah, very cool.
Right now we've got 11 shooting stations with a total of 15 targets. We got 4 doubles out, but that can always be changed up a little bit. I would expect to probably change the course, once or twice a year. Just put some variability in it for folks, and then obviously if you guys are really enjoying it or there's something you want to see on it, talk to Matt here. He's the man with the master plan. So if you want to see something improved or changed around a little bit, or maybe some more target sets or something like that, let him know.
Yeah, let me know. Come out and shoot.
So this is target 10. This is the only target currently where all 3 shooting positions are in the same spot. If you look back here, you'll see a small armadillo. It's about a 7-yard distance. So the reason I set this up, a lot of you 3D competition guys will understand this, but for those that don't, and the hunters in the world and the people just having fun and wanting to learn, it's very non-intuitive of where to aim at very close distances like this. Most people start with a 20-yard pen on their sights, and at 7 yards your impact is very, very different than what you would expect. Shooting guys might understand this, but my distance between my sight and my rest, as you can see here, that arrow has to come up to intersect where the pin is in my line of sight. So I'm actually shooting low, anything inside of my first pin, versus the idea would be, well, I'm shooting low at further distances, so that means I need to hold lower for closer distances, if that makes sense. Exact opposite's true on these really close shots. So for example, depending on your bow, the speeds and all that kind of stuff, at 7 yards you might be using a 35 or a 40-yard pin sight point, whereas naturally your brain's going to be, well, I'm closer, so there's less drop, so I need to aim below the target rather than well above it.
Yeah, in the shooting world we call that mechanical offset.
Yep.
I'm sure it's similar in the archery world, but that's a good point. People don't realize.
Yeah. So yeah, just another feature of the range that we got set up out here to, like we talked about earlier, just kind of show you a variety of different situations and help you prepare for the unexpected when you're out there on the trail for a competition, or you're out there on the mountain for the animal of your dreams.
Yep. So, all right, we shot just a couple of the targets that we have on the walking course, kind of showcased some different capabilities that we have out here. There's obviously, we shot what, 3 or 4? There's, what did you say? There's 11, 10, 11?
So there's 11 shooting stations currently,
okay.
And then we have 15 actual targets. So
a couple of doubles.
Yeah, 4 of the stations have 2 targets.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, so that's pretty much showcasing the capability out here. Again, Bobby's the one. A huge thanks to Bobby for actually putting that together for us, especially like we're, you know, all of us on this side, we're all gun guys. We understand, you know, safety and marksmanship, but not really understanding that piece. So we did reach out, find additional help and resources that, you know, I'll go ahead and say it, the professional in the space.
Far from a professional. Call it a avid hobbyist.
There we go, avid professional hobbyist. So, but yeah, finding that person to take the, you know, this experience and elevate it, which is very fun and exciting. That being said, Bobby, you got any last, you know, save rounds, any remarks, anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention again, appreciate what you guys are doing out here with this place and this space, and setting it up in a very usable manner for folks.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about earlier, good equipment, good targets, good area for shooting, making sure that you have people who know what they're doing and know what they talk about. So just overall for Legacy Ranch in general, I just want to tell you guys, this is a great place, whether you're interested in the archery or the shooting side or the sporting plays. Great place to check out, and just really nice that you guys took the time and made the investment to bring this archery piece out, because that gets overlooked a lot of the time.
It does, and I'm glad we have the physical capability of having that. I'll say I'm the hobbyist. That's what I'll say you're the professional hobbyist. So, but yeah, no, that's great. I'm glad we can do that, and hopefully involve more people into the sport. You know, get people out. I say sport as a whole. You know,
yeah.
Competition types hunters, things like that. There's a lot of fun in archery. So
Yeah. Yes.
that's fun.
Nice rig. Cool. So yeah, guys, come out. Talk to Matt or the other employees up at the front desk. Come out, shoot the course, get a membership. Tell us what you think about it. If you've got ideas for changing it, like we talked about earlier, it's a nice thing about this property and this course is it's very flexible. And hope to see you guys out here.
Let's do it. Thanks, brother.
Yep.